So the purpose of this video essay is to analyze some of the advantages and disadvantages of using mobile technology for broadcast journalism. It'll include some examples from my experience as a Mojo, as well as academic and journalistic references. It'll also compare some of the advantages and disadvantages of using mobile journalism in comparison to video journalism. So I'm going to start by explaining how a typical newsroom operates. In the book Now the News, The Story of Broadcast Journalism, Edward Bliss Jr. rightfully noted that in a newsroom, relatively the same thing happens every day. It's all about getting the news on air as quickly and accurately as possible. Now, let me explain the difference between a video journalist and a mobile journalist. So, video journalism is the process by which one person, a reporter, shoots, scripts, and edits video for broadcast or the internet. It happens in all sorts of newsrooms all over the world and has even been called an improved narrative form that uses a more intimate and emotional documentary filmmaking technique than conventional television. Edward Bliss Jr. agreed with this, adding that broadcast journalism is inescapably the most personal form of journalism ever. Burham and Quinn, 2015, have described mobile journalism, which is also called Mojo, as an innovative form of reporting where people use only a smartphone to create and file stories. So if you think about it, it's a lot like video journalism in the sense that videos are filmed and scripted by one person, but the main difference is the devices used. A Mojo would only use their smartphone to shoot, edit, and share their audio reports, while a video journalist could also use a professional camera to do the same thing. Now let's look at the advantages and disadvantages of using professional equipment for broadcast on radio and TV. The very best thing about using professional equipment is its amazing quality, both for video and audio. So for instance, if you're out recording somewhere windy, you're more likely to have good quality using a professional mic than an iPhone mic. Another good thing about the quality of professional equipment is that even at faraway distances, you'll still get good footage, so you don't have to go too close to the subject of your interview, and you can have many angles. You'd also have a wide range of zoom lenses and microphones to choose from depending on the scenario. Professional cameras and recording devices tend to have pretty good battery life, especially considering that you'd only use it to record, and since you've got your camera bag with you anyway, you could easily carry some spare batteries. Now let's look at some of the disadvantages of using professional equipment. The main thing here is that it's bulky. It's bulky, it's heavy, and it's got lots of add-ons. So you'll not only need your camera and tripod, but you'll also have to carry along the bags you keep them in when you're not using them, a mic, and headphones. You'd also probably need some spare batteries. Another disadvantage is the fact that there are some places that don't allow filming with professional equipment, and with most of these places you can call and get the necessary permissions you need, but that's time consuming, and as a journalist you often don't have that extra time to spare. There's also the fact that having too much equipment sometimes means you can't go filming on your own, so you'll need to go with a cameraman. And unfortunately, having several cameras and more than one person present during an interview can be intimidating for your interviewee. And let's not forget that these cameras and the editing software are expensive, and you'll need training to learn how to use them. If you try and wing it, you'll probably end up with bad quality footage like this. When it should look something like this. Now let's list the advantages and disadvantages of mobile journalism. My first point here is that it's light and easy. So there's no need for large cameras and large tripods because you always have your phone with you anyway. So if something happens, just film it. An example of this is when there was an explosion at the Brussels airport in 2016. A Sky News reporter happened to be there at the time, and so they were able to live stream directly from the airport using his smartphone. Here's a clip.
There is a great deal of confusion here. Certainly there are a number of, as you might imagine, very upset, very frightened people. Again, we don't know about the number of injuries, but certainly the people I am with here certainly believe that there is a terrorist attack, although again, we can't confirm. That hasn't been confirmed by the authorities.
Another advantage is that as a Mojo, you can easily make a complete package using a smartphone. You can shoot, edit, and share all from the field. And if one of the main aims of broadcast journalism is to share the news as quickly and accurately as possible, it'll make that so much quicker. Now, like I said earlier, some places don't allow filming with professional cameras. So if you have your mobile phone on you, you don't need to follow the lengthy procedures before you get the permissions to start recording. When you're filming on a small device, your interviews tend to be more intimate, as you're less likely to intimidate your interviewee with a small mobile phone than you are with a full set of professional equipment. Another good thing about mobile journalism is that you can film live to social media. Here's an example of a live news bulletin from one of our news days.
If you're a local business or farmer and it's affected you in any way and you'd like to get in contact with us, we'd love to hear from you.
Now, to look at the negative aspects of using mobile technology, the first thing I'll mention is quality. It's near impossible to have as good video or audio recordings on a smartphone than you would using professional recording equipment. You can come pretty close though, and it does do the job. It gets the job done. Another thing I'll have to point out is battery life. Mobile phones are multifunctional, and you use your phone for everything from making phone calls to checking emails. So it only makes sense that your battery won't last all day if you also want to use it to film, though I guess you could tackle that by just carrying a power bank with you. Interviews can also be a problem when recording on a mobile phone. This is because of how close you'll need to get to the person you're recording in order to see and hear them well. Here's a clip from the BBC Academy explaining how you can fix this problem.
You can overcome many of these problems or challenges by using an external plug-in microphone or a clip microphone. This will give you much better audio, as long as you are using a mic with the right kind of connector. A cheaper alternative or emergency standby could be to use the microphone on your headphones that come supplied with most smartphones. Plug that in, and then you can use this microphone to get better audio and good framing.
There's also the fact that a call can come in and interrupt your recording. But this can also be avoided. Here's another clip from the BBC Academy explaining how.
You need to make sure your phone is in airplane mode before you start recording.
Going into airplane mode is really important because it stops your device receiving a phone call. If it can get one while you're filming, it will interrupt you and you may not get a second chance to record.
In conclusion, I believe that the device you use for filming for broadcast really just depends on the story and the scenario. So for instance, while I was at the BBC House of Service for a placement this summer, we went out recording after a flood had happened. We went with 2 reporters, an English and a Hausa, and a cameraman, and they both did their piece to camera with the cameraman recording. But one of the reporters also recorded an interview using his smartphone. And he sent that interview straight to the newsroom where it could be edited and put on social media before we returned. The footage recorded by the cameraman was later turned into a video package for TV, and it was aired that evening. So from this instance, you can see how they use mobile journalism for social media while also using professional equipment for TV.